All right, so today we're diving deep into something I think you'll find really interesting. We're talking about abundance mindset.
Oh,
Yeah. And we're going to be looking at an article called
uh,
Abundance Mindset: How to Attract Prosperity and Fulfillment. And it goes into some practical steps, but also, I think, some pretty interesting connections to faith and the law of attraction.
and a mug.
And a mug.
Right. I heard there's a mug
It
involved.
is a mug.
Yeah.
A very special mug that we will get to.
Color me intrigued. All right, let's dive in.
Okay, so the article starts off by contrasting the abundance mindset with kind of the opposite of that, what they call the scarcity mindset.
Okay.
And, I think we've all kind of felt both of those, right?
Yeah.
Like that feeling of there's never enough versus that feeling when you're like, oh, there's plenty for everyone, right? It's like,
Right.
that's,
Yeah, totally. And it's amazing how it affects every single, decision that you make and how you even behave when you're either coming from a place of scarcity or abundance. Like someone coming from a place of scarcity, they might be more likely to like hoard resources
right.
or, just constantly be comparing themselves to others.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Whereas an abundance mindset, you might be more willing to collaborate, to share, to be generous, even to take risks.
Yeah, it's interesting how one kind of keeps you small
Yeah,
and the other one kind of pushes you to like expand and grow.
absolutely.
Now, this article, it ties this whole idea of abundance to the law of attraction, which honestly has always sounded a little woo-woo to me,
Right.
but the way they kind of explain it in terms of energy and focus is like, oh, okay,
Right.
maybe there's something to this.
Yeah, law of attraction can definitely be a little tricky because I
Yeah.
think a lot of times it gets, oversimplified into thinking positive thoughts and, you get what you want, essentially.
Yeah.
But this article seems to go a little deeper than that
Right.
and say it's more about aligning your energy with what you want
Okay.
and becoming a magnet for those outcomes.
Yeah.
And that takes more than just thinking, right?
Yeah, for sure. It makes me think about those times when I've been like really focused on something, some kind of goal, and somehow the right people or the right opportunity just like shows up. It's almost like
Okay.
you're pulling it in without even realizing it. But there's another element in this article that I thought was really interesting, and that is faith.
Okay.
They talk a lot about faith.
Right. And not just faith in, some higher power or, what have you, but faith in yourself, in the process, in life.
Okay.
The article really talks about how that faith can be really powerful when it comes to manifesting abundance.
I like that. It's like faith is almost like the fuel for the law of attraction to actually work.
Right.
It makes you kind of think about your own, what is your faith in whatever form it takes in your own achievements? What role does that play? I thought that was pretty cool. All right, now this is where things get a little bit more interesting because the article proposes a very specific morning routine to kind of cultivate this abundance mindset.
Okay.
And it involves what they call the just chilling mug.
Oh.
So this is where I kirked up. I was like, okay, now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like they take this whole concept and make it into something tangible.
Yeah, I like that.
They describe choosing a mug that like brings you joy
Mm.
and making it part of your morning ritual as this visual anchor.
Right, right. I think that's a brilliant technique. I mean, imagine starting every day with this little reminder, that you're choosing to cultivate abundance.
Yeah.
Then it goes on to say, after you've got your mug, you're going to set positive intentions for the day, do some affirmations. And all this is while you're sipping from your just chilling mug.
Right.
It's like they've hacked the system with this,
Yeah.
mug
Yes.
to prime your mind for abundance.
Yeah.
I like.
What I really liked about it is how they explain the why behind it all, and they tied it back to the law of attraction and the power of like constantly focusing on the positive. It's not just about going through the motions. It's
Okay.
about like rewiring your brain to see the abundance that's already there. Right?
Absolutely. It's about
Yeah.
retraining your mind to look for the good stuff instead of constantly getting stuck in that loop of negativity or, feeling like there's just not enough.
So it's like building a mental muscle, right,
Yeah.
for abundance.
Yeah.
But what I'm curious about is how much of this is about the external actions
Right.
and how much of it is about an internal shift. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. Like, does having a just chilling mug actually change anything, or is it about something deeper?
Yeah, exactly. Is this just a gimmick?
Right.
Or is there real power in this?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and I think it's something that we should definitely unpack further in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay, so it sounds like an abundance mindset isn't just about like, thinking positive thoughts. It's like really cultivating this deeper belief that anything is possible. There's always opportunity out there.
Right.
But I'm still kind of stuck on, can these little rituals, like this just chilling mug, really help us get there?
Yeah, I think it's easy to be skeptical, right?
Yeah.
Can a mug really change your whole life,
Mm.
But I think what this article is getting at is like the power of anchoring.
Mm.
So by using these physical objects, you're kind of creating tangible reminders of your intentions.
Yeah.
Like it's like a visual cue to shift your mental state.
Yeah, so it's almost like that Pavlov's dog thing, right? Like you see the mug and you're like, oh, abundance.
Exactly.
But couldn't anything work? Like, why this mug? Why is this mug so special?
Right, and that's where I think the personal connection comes in, right?
Right.
It's not just any mug. It's about choosing a mug that like speaks to you, that
Mm.
brings you joy, that has some sort of meaning to you.
Yeah.
And think about like other rituals that people use, like, lighting a candle when they meditate,
Right.
or maybe wearing a certain piece of jewelry that makes them feel confident. These objects become symbols, right?
Yeah.
Charged with intention.
Yeah, so it's not really about the object itself, but it's the energy and the meaning we give it.
Right.
And I guess by doing it consistently, like every morning, it kind of strengthens that connection,
Absolutely.
But I'm still kind of grappling with this idea of physically rewiring our brains. Is there like actual science behind that, or is this just like a metaphor?
Well, actually, there's a lot of research out there about neuroplasticity.
Okay.
So basically, it's the brain's ability to change and adapt over time.
Okay.
And it's been shown that repetitive actions, especially those tied to like positive emotions, can actually create new neural pathways in the brain.
So like you're actually changing the physical structure?
Exactly. Think of it like building a muscle, right?
Okay.
The more you practice gratitude, the stronger those connections become.
So it's not just like a whimsical idea, there's like actual science backing it up. Okay, but let's be real. Life isn't always sunshine and rainbows.
Right.
How does this whole abundance mindset hold up when you're like facing real challenges and setbacks, like even grief?
Yeah. I mean, that's the true test, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think it's important to acknowledge that this isn't about like denying reality or pretending everything's perfect.
Right.
It's not about toxic positivity. It's
Mhm.
more about approaching these tough situations with the belief that, there are solutions,
Okay.
that you have the inner resources to get through them.
So it's about resilience. It's
Excellent.
not just like blissful ignorance.
Right.
Okay, but can a mug really help you through like losing your job or some personal crisis?
Well, maybe not directly, but I think in those moments of despair, that mug could be a symbol of hope.
Okay.
Like a reminder to tap into your inner strength
Yeah.
and trust that you'll get through it.
It's like a little beacon of light.
Right.
But this brings up something else I've been thinking about. Could focusing so much on abundance actually lead to like unrealistic expectations?
Right.
Or like a detachment from reality?
Yeah, that's a valid concern for
Yeah.
sure. I think it's about finding that balance between optimism and, being grounded.
Right.
An abundance mindset shouldn't mean you ignore problems or pretend they don't exist, right?
Right.
It's more about approaching them with a solution-oriented attitude and believing in your ability to overcome them.
So be hopeful, but also pragmatic.
Exactly.
Okay. I want to go back to something we touched on earlier, and that was the role of faith
Good.
in this whole abundance mindset thing. The article seemed to think it was pretty crucial. Do you agree?
I think it depends on how we define faith,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be about organized religion or anything like that. It could be faith in a higher power,
Mm-hmm.
faith in the universe,
Oh,
or even just faith in yourself, What matters is that underlying trust, that belief that things will work out, that you're supported, that you're not alone.
It's like having that inner knowing
Yeah,
that even if things are tough right now, eventually you're going to be okay.
exactly. And that can be really powerful, especially when things are uncertain or you're going through some tough stuff.
It's like that unshakable belief.
Yeah.
This has been such a great conversation, by the way. I feel like I'm really starting to understand the nuances of this whole abundance mindset thing.
Good.
But before we move on, I'm curious, do you have any personal experience with like rituals or physical objects as like anchors for your intentions?
I do. I have this little ritual that I find helpful.
Yeah.
It might sound a little strange, but it has a small collection of stones that I keep on my desk.
Stones. Okay, so now I'm really curious. What is this all about?
Well, each stone represents a different quality or intention that I want to cultivate in my life.
Okay.
One for creativity,
Oh.
one for courage, one for finding stillness, when things are chaotic,
Okay.
So when I need a little boost or if I'm feeling stuck, I just like hold the corresponding stone
Mm-hmm.
and focus on that intention.
Interesting. So it's like each stone is like this physical reminder of that quality.
Exactly.
It's interesting how just something so simple can be so like grounding.
It really is.
So we've gone from a just chilling mug to intention stones. I guess it really shows that there's not just one way to do this, right?
Right. Yeah. It's about finding what works for you,
Right.
what resonates with you.
Okay. And that's a good point for our listener, too. What are some things that they could incorporate into their lives
Yeah.
to kind of cultivate that abundance mindset?
Right. It could be anything, right? It could be a favorite quote,
Mm-hmm.
a piece of art,
Yeah.
a playlist,
Right.
even a just chillin' mug.
Yeah. Yeah. It's about finding what speaks to you,
Right.
what sparks that joy, that possibility. But let's not forget the real world implications of all this, right? The article talks about how this abundance mindset can actually impact like pretty much every area of our lives.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Relationships, career, finances, well-being.
Okay.
I mean, this shift in perspective can really change things.
So give me an example. How does it impact like relationships, for example?
Well, in relationships, it can foster trust
Uh-huh.
and generosity. Instead of seeing love as this like limited resource, you approach relationships with an open heart,
Okay.
believing there's enough love for everyone.
That's nice. It takes the pressure off.
It does.
All right.
What about work?
Yeah. So in your career, it can fuel your creativity and your willingness to collaborate.
Okay.
So you see opportunities where others might see obstacles,
Mm-hmm.
and you approach work with, passion.
So you're not threatened by competition.
No, not at all.
You see it as a chance to kind of like,
Grow. Yeah.
Okay, and what about money? Does this mean that you're just going to be like rolling in it? Well, not necessarily. I think with finances, it's not about greed or anything like that. It's more about trusting that you'll have what you need
Okay.
to live a fulfilling life.
Okay.
Focusing on gratitude for what you already have,
Mm-hmm.
while also believing that you can create financial security.
So it's about shifting that focus, right?
Right.
From scarcity to abundance.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not just about like sitting back and expecting good things to happen. You
Yeah.
still got to put in the work.
Absolutely. You got to take action, pursue your goals with, passion,
Mm-hmm.
persevere,
Mm-hmm.
and trust that the universe has got your back.
It's about being a conscious creator of your own reality.
Exactly.
Aligning your actions with your beliefs.
That's where the magic is.
This has been so insightful. I feel like I've learned a lot. If there's one thing I hope our listener takes away from this, it's that this abundance mindset, it's not like something you're just born with.
Right. It's not fixed.
It's something that you got to cultivate.
It is. It's a choice.
It's a daily practice. It's a choice to shift your perspective.
Focus on gratitude, the possibility,
Trust in yourself.
trust in the process.
And remember, even those little steps, like that just chillin' mug
Right.
or your intention stones, they can make a big difference over time.
Absolutely. Remember, it all starts with a single step.
Mm-hmm.
What will your first step be?
That's a great question to think about. We've talked about the principles, the practical steps, even some personal examples of how to cultivate this abundance mindset. But ultimately, it's up to you to decide how you're going to integrate this into your life.
And remember, there's enough for everyone.
The universe is abundant.
It is.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of abundance mindset. We hope you found it insightful,
We did.
inspiring. Until next time, stay curious
Stay open.
and stay abundant.
Yes.